But, at least it's our first point of the season. It's one more than we had after the first two games last season. So, big dub. But yeah, that was pretty bad. Let's get the positive out of the way. Kilman and Collins were brilliant. In my opinion, I think they handled Mitrovic really well. Their ball distribution was good. They tried to carry the ball well, considering there was absolutely nothing around them. And I think a lot of the concern about going to a back four was, can our centre backs gel to it? And they have. And I think Kilman and Collins deserve credit for that. Collins has settled in seamlessly. They bullied Mitrovic the whole game. And yeah, fair play to Kilman and Collins. But everything else about that game was pretty shambolic. People were pretty positive at half time. I thought it was boring, to be honest. And look, I was very positive about the back four last game against Leeds. I still am. But it's individual errors costing us this. And most importantly for me, because by the way, Johnny was woeful. I actually thought Aitner had an okay game, but the penalty knocks that down, obviously. But look, I don't hate Leander Dendoncker as much as people think I do hate him. But in a midfield two in the Premier League, there's no point having four wingers playing in attack who basically can't hold the ball up. If you don't have a midfielder that can actually carry it to them in the first place, you might as well just have two of them at top and actually have someone that can carry it to them. And look, Dendoncker has his uses. He's fine. But also, his defensive output's woeful. He can't carry the ball. He's not creative. And when he does get in good positions, he can't score. And look, to be fair, Neto should have scored could have scored 2 goals in the first 10 minutes. There was that chance where he knocked it around the goalkeeper. He should have scored. And then it probably would have been a different game. And we'd all be praising the 4-2-3-1 and saying how great it is. I still think 4-3-3 is probably the the ideal formation right now. I don't think any of our attackers particularly had a good game. I'll allow it for Hwang. And obviously, Guedes barely touched the ball. Same with Adama. But my only concern, I don't really know if Morgan's a right or winger. I like Morgan's white. But the thing is with him and Daniel Pedent, I think they're very similar. They're both kind of like number 10s who aren't good enough to play out wide in terms of they're not direct enough. But I don't know if they have the output or the ball retention to play in a midfield three. So then you kind of have to play one of them at number 10. You're kind of shoehorning one of them out wide. By the way, Mitrovic should have got sent. I don't know how the fuck he didn't get sent off. It was a clear foul on Gibbs White in the first page, which was yellow. And then he booked Gibbs White for squaring up to Mitrovic, which means you have to book Mitrovic for that. And I know they're two separate actions, but remember when we played Arsenal last season and Martelli, was it a foul throw or something, or he pushed Johnny taking a foul and then he clipped someone else and the referee books him for both of them because they're both bookings. I don't know how that's not the same on Mitrovic. But for me, look, the back four's fine. It's working all right defensively. We'll still have the same issues in attack. But I don't think that's because the attackers are bad. I think the attackers are fine. I think when Guedes settles in and Wolves bringing in a striker on loan and Jimenez is back and they start to gel, it'll be fine. This midfield's the issue. And that's not a dig at Ruben Neves. By the way, I don't know how the fuck Ruben Neves got booked. It was barely a fuck anyway. But I'm not singling out Dendoncker because it's not his fault. And we all know he can't play in a midfield too. And we all know he can't progress the ball. But when you've got a guy in there, because obviously they're going to mark Neves because he's the distributor, so then the ball goes to Dendoncker, and first of all he's playing on the left, so it doesn't really help him because he's on his weaker foot. But his touch is awful, his defense output's bad, and he can't progress the ball. I'd genuinely just rather have a Luke Cundle in there. I just don't see what Dendoncker offers in a two. I would rather today we just play a midfield three and put Ronan or Cundle in there and play the front three. Obviously, it's very easy to say that with hindsight, but it doesn't feel like it's clicking right now. It's fine. It's very early on. I'm not concerned. I think the back four's fine, but there's issues with that 11, and ultimately this is the second week now where we haven't even put one expected goals, and it's very reminiscent of the last 2.5 years at Wolves. For me, we've had loads of different attackers over the last 2.5 years that all of them have underperformed. Fabio Silva, Willian Jose, Raul Jimenez, the front four on the screen right now, Adama Traore. And it gets to a point where are all these guys bad players, or do you just not have the midfield and the fullbacks supplying them? I thought Johnny was woeful, by the way. He was terrible. Johnny was one of those players that I just assumed would really settle in a four. And I'm not writing him off, by the way, but he's probably been our worst player. Is that a fair thing to say across the two games against Leeds and Fulham? It's probably between him and Dendoncker. But yeah, I think when you've got too many number 10s kind of just in that front line, the amount of times Neves got the ball and no one was coming short. And I don't know, man. I'm kind of just rambling now. But look, it's good to get a point on the board. But we don't really deserve one considering, Jose Sar's bailed us out. We need a central midfielder, man. People can go on about a striker all they want. But I think if you said to most Wolves fans at the end of last season, what's the one position you need? We'd all say a central midfielder, not just any central midfielder. A central midfielder that can actually dribble a ball and actually carry a ball. Because especially when you've got Pedence and Morgan Gibbs White who give the ball away every 5 minutes, you need someone in there that one can actually hold the ball and never. So you need someone that can actually progress the ball as well. Otherwise, it just feels like our side is you've got the back six and you've got the back four, or the front four, sorry, and they're all just up there. There's just nothing in the middle, and Fulham packed out the middle. They had a 3-man midfield. They're all really deep. They marked out our fullbacks, and we couldn't get out. And this is the same problem we had when we played a back five. But obviously we've just got one more forward, but it's still the same issue. Wolves need a central midfielder. We need someone to replace Leander Dendoncker, or go to midfield three and bring someone, maybe drop Gibbs White in there, or I don't know. But look, it's more positive than it was last week. So ultimately we got a point. Guedes is there. The bench is better. And there still are some positive signs with Collins and Kilman. Jose Sá back to his best, whatever. But Johnny needs to step up. We need a midfielder. And it is a bit concerning how none of our attackers look on form right now. But, there's still time. But, it wasn't really a great game, was it? And Wolves ultimately got lucky in the end. But, at least it makes the Tottenham game have a lot less pressure now. Because if we went into that with... And then it's three losses out of 3 games, and all of a sudden you're bottom of the league, it's a concern. But at least we got a point, I guess. But I'm a bit worried, if the transfer window shut tomorrow, I'm not saying we get relegated or anything, but I don't think we'd finish any higher than 12th. Need a central midfield. I've got nothing against Leander Dendoncker, but I can't put up with another season of just Neves, Matinho and Dendoncker. I've got nothing against any of them as individuals, but we need a midfielder that can carry a ball. I don't know how. Am I the only one? Is it just the fans that can see this? Can Bruno not see this? Can Scott Sellers not see this? We can't go another season with Leander Dendoncker in a midfield 2 playing 2,000 minutes. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to shut up. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Peace.